Yeah, yeah. What they saying? I'm so divine, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shine. My mental is parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine, I'm so divine. Imperfection, perfection, my presence shine. My mental is parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine.
Welcome to the H.G.R.G podcast. We back with another one. DT, just Jerry. What's up,
Yes,
fellas?
sir. Yes, sir.
Good,
Yes,
what's good?
sir.
What's good? What's good? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. We outside again? Yo, what's good?
I don't know about y'all, but I've been outside.
I got a little tan from being outside. I'm just saying.
Oh my God. Here we go again.
Finally got off the porch, I guess, huh?
You know, I'm just saying. Just walking around a little bit.
Hey guys, I just want to make sure DT.
I'm with you. I'm here. We out.
Here?
Outside.
That's all we need to hear.
Yeah,
That's all we need to hear.
I'm with you.
Yeah, as long as DT good, I guess I'm good. You know what you do.
Hey, Lance, how you doing, best friend? Nice to see you.
Hey, how are you?
Nice to see you. Just so you know, you've been replaced. I got a new best friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, I knew this day was coming at some point, fellas.
It was inevitable. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
You would be the first people to send me some paper. That's all I'm saying. No problem.
Well, yeah, what are we talking about today?
No problem. Yeah, listen, I want to get into it. You guys, if you follow us, you know what I'm saying, our fans, obviously you guys know there's some people out there that I have disagreed with in the past, talking about don't buy a home because it's not worth it and suck, you know what I'm saying? It's a sucker move and you know, X, Y, and Z. I'm not gonna mention any names, you know. I'm not gonna mention any names.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
GC?
Man Hadon, you know what I'm saying? Rhymes with Man Hadon. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Spanish. I don't know. You know, but I'm gonna tell you right now, a study has now come out. It's great to have data because this is what you need to make decisions, right? It's data. And that's how I see it. So what I found is that homeowners have a net worth that is approximately 40 times greater than that of renters. So what this means is that the typical homeowner's net worth is about 400,000 and the typical renters is around 10,400.
That's a large gap.
Yeah.
Huge.
So that's like what does that mean?
And how do we get there, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of want to explain that to the people because you know a lot of people, it's not the right time to buy. I'd rather rent. I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. You know every song and dance that there is out there, right? The reality is that we'll keep it simple, and I'll start simple, fellas. When you
let me throw you the alley up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lance, tell us why this is. Tell us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how you keep his job. I hear you.
Don't mind if I do, fellas. Don't mind if I do. You know, life, camera, action. Let's here.
Let's go.
So the reality is this: to keep it at a very baseline, you know, and to dumb it down. When you're a renter, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Ain't no way around it. Period. Very short, very simple. You still don't know about real estate? You don't know whether to jump in. You don't know if you ain't got the right mindset. You don't know if it's the right time. H.G.R.G got you. We just dropped the ebook. Go check it out. It's in the description below. It ain't going to you. There's nothing there for you in the long run. You can rent for 15 years. All you did was pay 15 years of somebody else's mortgage. Okay?
That's a fact.
When you own, you will have a mortgage that you are paying down that creates equity in the long run, okay? Now, if your neighborhood is being built up, that also attributes to the equity that you have, your potential that is there. So while you're paying down a mortgage, you know, and cost of living is going up and property is going up, your wealth is going up. Your net worth is going up. So
Absolutely.
those people that have 400,000, not because they came in and they put, 400,000 of equity into their home and they want a small mortgage. That's not how it happens.
Right.
That's
Right.
not how it happens. What happens is the market does what it does. You're paying down at the same time, and then all of a sudden you look up 10 years later, and you're worth 400,000 that you can really touch and you can really point. So now if you're thinking about, starting a business, putting a kid through college, you now have that equity to do so. As a renter, and I'm going to be very blunt, you have nothing. You have nothing. You have a piece of paper that gives you 12 months somewhere.
Right.
That is it.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of what DT, when you hear something like that, what does that mean to you when you hear the gap between renters and homeowners?
On one side of the coin, it tells me, it takes me to that place when, not too long ago, when people were saying, now is not the time to buy. There was a lot of scary money out here, right? People were sitting on, tons of opportunity, but just no willingness to want to pull the trigger, for lack of better words. And, I'm not going to buy because the interest rates are so high. I'm not going to buy because interest rates are so high. And now look, right, people who did buy, people who did jump out the window, if you will, they have tons of equity in their property, because not only, like you said, Lance, did you pay down or your tenants pay down your mortgage, but property values have skyrocketed all over, like everywhere. There really is no market that property values haven't been affected by what's going on in the last 5 to 7 years, right? Who would have thought before, 2018, 2019, that this is where we would be less than 10 years later, right? So, that's the first thing that I think about. What would you do right now to go back to 2018, knowing, or, obviously if you had a crystal ball, to see what you could buy a property for then, right? And what it would be worth now.
And that's why you got to continue to buy, man, because a lot of people make a lot of money.
And it's not, if you're in the right markets, doing things the right way, it's never going to get back to 2018.
Right.
It's never going to get back to 2020. It's never going to get back to 2022. It's just going to continue to it doesn't have to climb a mountain, but it could at least stay stagnant. Right. And, and eventually stagnant will then too climb the mountain again.
Agreed.
Right. So those are just a few things that I think about initially. And then overall, to touch on what you said too, some people just can't afford to own. Or let me say this. Some people don't know that they can afford to own, but don't take the proper steps to try to do so, and or maybe just don't have the education or don't have the know-how or the wherewithal. And a lot of people are just comfortable. I'm okay with paying rent, check to check, doing what I got to do. I afford my bills. I got $150 left at the end of the week. Bills are paid. Kids are fed. I'm good with this. I'm just going to rinse and repeat, compared to where I grew up at and what my parents had. I'm chilling. And they're good with that. So, I guess there's multiple types of people, multiple types of mentalities there. But, my mind goes there as well, because it's like, man, if you could just take that chance on yourself, just dive in and invest in a property. That's the biggest purchase you're probably going to make in your life is real estate. It doesn't have to be $1 million property. It could be an $80,000 property, $50,000 property. Yep. Make it. Just make it. Because if you would have did that in 18, 19, that property would be worth over $100,000 right now.
That's a fact. It's a fact. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Renting isn't bad. We're not going to say renting is bad, but we're saying if you're financially fit to buy, and you believe you believe it, you may not be. We're telling you might. If you sit down with us and sit down and have a consultant call with us, we'll tell you you're ready to buy. So just know that you may think renting it fits your budget, and you're sadly mistaken that you could buy as of right now. As when you saying the market is crazy, we could buy. 1, 2, just to touch on a couple things you guys said. Paying the equity. Equity is cash. It's a savings. That's all you're saying. You're saying you're putting money into a savings every month when you pay your mortgage. One being that is the most important thing. I would say 92% renters do not save like a mortgage, because at the end of your mortgage you have 400,000. A renter barely saves for 10,000, 20,000. So at 92%, a homeowner would back down a renter 440 times better than savings. That is right there alone. I want to buy a house because I know at the end of the road I will have 400,000 or more. That's already I want to do that.
Or less, but you have something.
Correct.
Right?
Or less, you have something.
You're gonna have more than a renter.
Right, 100%.
When you 40 times more than a renter.
When you rent, it goes from your pocket to the owner's pocket to the bank, and now they have increased equity.
Yep.
You just have another 30-day hotel. You know what I'm saying?
And once they don't want to renew the lease, you have to look for another place
or increase the rates.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We want to listen. I love you as a renter, you know what I'm saying, but you're not gonna pay me what I want, you know. So the reality is, you got to go, or you could pay it, right? But at the end of the day, you hold no leverage.
Yeah,
here, right? No leverage.
Yeah,
you know. So all those, and here's another thing too that I think is missing that a lot of people don't talk about. During COVID, when people were paying 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 over asking price, right? With no conditions at all, sight unseen sometimes, you know,
all cash,
all cash, and I was guilty of this too. Even now, I was like, man, why? Those people are winning still at this moment. They're still winning. You got to think about that. You know, I'm like, man, I don't want to be upside down. I don't want to spend an extra 50. I can't, I can't make it make sense. You know, well, guess what? I'm here to tell you, even I was wrong, because those people are winning right now. There's people winning right now. There's a lot that goes into this. I'm sick of people online, hadon. He's got Spanish. Don't worry about it. The guy's Spanish. Saying stuff as saying that don't buy. It's the dumbest thing you could do. It's the dumbest thing you could do. Really, there's nothing dumber you can do. That's the dumbest thing in real estate you can do.
I don't agree. I don't agree because it's just a lot of benefits. Taxes. You could take just like you said. You could take money out of your property. You could refinance or the HELOC. It's either or. You could make your house your living bank. I please make it make sense for me.
Yeah.
So if you're saying if you could do it as a renter, show me.
Yeah.
Show me, and I'll shut up. But other than that, I know what I could do as a homeowner.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes people just don't have the education. They don't know. What the intricacies are of owning a home, renting a home, what the benefits are tax-wise, what the benefits are long-term, the equity portion of it, the ability to be able to cash out refi, HELOCs, leverage your property to, make different more business moves.
Absolutely.
They just don't have, that's why we're here, right? That's what we're here.
There's no excuse when H.G.R.G is out there. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
This is a quick YouTube search, H.G.R.G. Tell your friends, make sure you share, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys do that too. But my bad. Go ahead, DC.
Hey, listen, I like you on fire today, kid. Keep it up.
What's going on, world? It's the one and only Lance, 1/3 of H.G.R.G. You ain't got your membership yet? Go get you that. We hold your hand from A to Z. Our team is your team. I'm talking realtors. I'm talking financing. I'm talking property management. I'm talking about walkthroughs for your property, giving you the breakdowns, what the rents look like, how much it's going to cost, fixes, everything. We give you everything. Why don't you have yours? Go check us out right now at hgrg.club and get your membership now.
No, but it's the truth. It's just, I guess it's just a lack of exposure, lack of education. And if people are educated and are exposed and still decide not to, sometimes maybe they just financially are in a position where they don't want to be a homeowner. They travel a lot and they want to just, kind of rent the house, and they don't want to be married to a specific location, a city or a town. I could understand that. You're going to relocate from one place to the other. I can understand that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give some pushback here.
Go ahead.
Because the reality is that if in a year or two you feel like it's not for you, guess what? Put it back on the market, recoup, nothing really lost. Matter of fact, I've seen someone do it where, and I'll give you a quick example, DT. I know you want to get in there, but where somebody bought a property, for their mom and their best friend, and shit didn't work out. They sold it, but they made money. 2 years, they made money.
Right. And that's possible. That's definitely possible. The other side of the coin exists too, right? You want to relocate from one state to the next, and your family member may live in this town, and you just say, you know what, I'm gonna buy a property in this town, and you didn't really do no research. You don't know what the values, how long they've been stagnant, are they going up, are they going down? Is this property, is this town built over a landfill? What's the crime in this area? You know what I mean? Is this what is it called? As a tsunami? Is it is it a tsunami? Is it high
tornadoes?
Not only that, flood, like flood risk, things like that. So sometimes you come from like a place like New York, right, and you go out of town to like a Florida, down south in some places, and you start to see some of the property, how much the houses cost. Like if you go to Texas from New York, right, and you buy a house for $400K. I don't know about you guys, but on Instagram, I could buy a 70,000 square foot property for like 300.
You know what's crazy
in Texas.
You know what's crazy? Because who we are. I get 1,000 DMs.
Me too, bro.
Sending this.
Me too.
Okay, you think I get this?
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
If everybody will buy this,
why don't I live in Texas? And why don't we live in Texas? Why don't you guys go to Texas? Why don't you guys go to Texas?
They exist. It's just in the middle of nowhere. Don't worry about it.
No. Listen, Lance, they don't tell you that. Yeah, you could buy this house for $350,000, but there's a tunnel under your garage that Chapo put there when they built the track.
I'll go through that whole tunnel.
Don't mind him. Don't mind him. He comes with the house.
Don't worry about that bing, bing, bing noise that you hear all night long.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Listen, in order the closest living person is 2 hours away from you, but it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's
but
peaceful.
Obviously that's an example of you can bump your head again if you don't have the H.G.R.Gs in your life that do the research on locations, property values, crime rates, history of the land, future of the land, what's coming to that town, what drives that town, employment wise, is this a tech town? Is this a labor town? Is it, blue collar, white collar? What's here? Why move there? So if you do all that, then yes, to your point, Lance, you can go try it out, take a chance, see what happens, a year or two, sell it, at least break even.
Worst comes to worst, you're not taking a huge L, even if it doesn't work out for you, right? I mean, yeah, you may take a hit, but it's nothing that's gonna really break you where you're like, man, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not that.
Yeah.
Even when you make a mistake. Now, investing, different ball game, right? But when you're buying something for you, something that you like, that you want to be a part of, that's yours, home for you, and it just doesn't work out in a year or two, chances are you'll be able to recoup all or most of your money, for the most part. So, it's not like a end all be all decision where, you're just asked out if you guess wrong here, but, the reality is that there's so much more, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you guys, there's so much more upside to buying a property, being a homeowner, than there is to renting. Because people will tell you, oh, what about a roof? What about HVAC? What about, this, that, and the third? You cut your grass and do this and do that and trash. And, so people will give you a whole laundry list of downside.
Those same people be the ones to tell you, go ahead and buy that used car.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, that's a good point.
And they don't tell you, oh, what about the tires? What about oil changes? What about the previous owner? What about the Carfax? What about, they don't tell you none of that. It's just, that's a fire car. Go get that. Go get that.
Facts.
Yeah.
Go get that track hog. Go get that. Go get that Hellcat. Go get that red eye.
You talk about generational wealth. This life insurance, real estate. All this stuff for your kin. This stuff works. This puts them at a different level. You know, when you go and you've had a house for 40 years, everything is paid off. There's no more, they can rent it out, they can sell it, whatever it may be, but it's a tool for them to utilize. Right.
I'll tell you this. This anything long-term wealth is real estate. Owning real estate is still one of the strongest tools in the world.
Yeah. If you're not passed down a business from your generation prior to, if you're not inheriting funds, if you didn't get a life insurance policy from a loved one that passed on, and you're trying to create a new lane, you're trailblazing, right? You're generational wealth. You are the person that's going to carry that torch and pass it down. I mean, I don't know another way, unless you're like a techie, unless you're like a super genius with, the investment portion, like the Bitcoin, you were super ahead of it. You kind of navigated that field. You went in and went out, you went hard and did that thing. Cool. There's people that I know that have been super successful in that. Some of it's luck, some of it's skill, some of it's having super cojones. But if you want to be just something that's it's like the tortoise and the hare, right? Real estate would be the tortoise. It's never going to go nowhere. It'll always be here.
Facts.
When that hair slows down, because that stock ain't doing what it's supposed to do. When those tech jobs move from one city to the next because they built a robot or AI took over, real estate will still be there. They're never going to build an AI bot that's going to buy property, manage it, own it, rent it out, and sell it. They're never going to build an AI bot to do that. They can't.
Where is my rent? They
can build them to do that. They can do that
part. Here's what I would say though. It's funny how there was a key point. You know that McDonald's movie?
Mm-hmm.
That where it shows like the brothers and started it and all that, and they got taken from them, right? They tell you McDonald's is not in the fast food game.
Mm-hmm.
They in the real estate game.
Mm-hmm.
When you own a McDonald's, they own the land you're on. If that don't tell you something, if that doesn't turn something on for you, we got to sit back and analyze, your thought process. McDonald's is telling you, listen, fuck the burgers.
Right.
We don't care about the burgers.
Right.
We care about the real estate. I mean,
yeah.
With that being said, I mean, we got to pay attention more to the data and what's really going on, and not what people are saying online. No matter how much money they got, no matter how savvy they come off, because the reality is they want you to invest with them and let them control everything. You control it. That's why with H.G.R.G, we just guide. You control your assets. You know what I'm saying? Our name's not on anything, period. We don't want to be on anything. We just want to show you the way. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you got to mess with H.G.R.G. H.G.R.G.club. Go to, H.G.R.G_club on social media. I mean, come on. Man.
Well said.
Book a consultation.
Jerry, this guy's on fire. I don't know what's going on over here.
Yeah, I guess it's early on a Wednesday. That's what it is.
We want me to say, unbelievable. Listen, guys, all I know is we want to bring that to you. Understand, look at the data. It is there for you. Stop acting like it's not. Read, do your due diligence. Go get you a house. Go get you a property. Go get you an investment property. You want an investment property? Hit us up, HGRG.club. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But you stop listening to those haters saying buying a house is the worst thing you could do. Sitting on your ass, just watching videos and not doing it, that's the worst thing you could do.
Correct. And if you look back, I not challenge you, but tell you, look back on the episodes in the past. We've talked about it before years ago. We've been around for a couple of years now. If you guys don't know, look back at our earlier episodes. We're singing the same tune, and just now we're just reaping the benefits. In our own personal portfolios and our own business ventures, we're reaping the benefits of it. And now we just all happen to stumble across an article that just kind of coincides with what we said then and we see now. So we bring it to you guys just because it's something that came across our desk. So, we've been screaming to our friends for years, come over here. It's sweet over here. Come over here. This is where it's at. Come do this. Now we screaming to y'all. If you listen, be one of the greatest things you've done in your life. If you don't, it doesn't change anything in our world.
Absolutely. Just Jerry, what's up, man? Let them know something before we go.
I'll tell you this. Own, and own. Buy and buy and buy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you're gonna break that curse that you're fighting. Buy, and buy. And don't let me buy it all, because I'm gonna buy it all. Let me stop.
Listen, they say location. The whole United States is hot right now. Look in your backyard if you got to. That's a bar right there.
We're cooking right now.
Ain't cooking
right now.
I'm cooking right now.
We're cooking right now.
I'm cooking.
He took the Alpha Brain pill this morning.
I'm about to get rolling this morning. But listen, the reality is, it's we always want what's best for you guys. Period. That's why we do this podcast. This is why we meet when we meet. We give it to you how we give it to you. But get up off your ass, do what you gotta do. Get to buying, get to moving. Do your due diligence, do your homework. Link with H.G.R.G, H.G.R.G.club. And we'll see you on the other side, man. From our mouths to your ears. See you.
Sir.
Yeah. What they say? I'm so divine. Perfection, my presence shines. My mental's parasailing maritime. They say I'm destined to read the palm line. Yeah, I'm so divine. Imperfection, my presence shines.